Hi guys, and welcome to today's video where I desperately try to get back into writing after not writing for about a month. So buckle up, grab some snacks, and I hope you enjoy! So, according to Google, writer's block is the condition of being unable to think of what to write or how to proceed with writing. And I think they capture that very accurately, because writer's block is quite literally the writer's definition of being stuck. And that's what I tend to create when I don't write for an extended amount of time. Now, as I said previously, I have not written a single word towards either of my works in progress for about a month now, which has mainly been because of school. I had a very busy last block of school, and where it seemed very manageable in the beginning, it definitely got worse as we got closer to the exam period. I did only have one exam, but it was a tough one, and at the same time I had a pretty big writing assignment for one of my courses as a final assignment instead of the exam, and then at the same time I also started my bachelor's thesis. So I was really busy. And because of that, I decided to take a step back from my writing and focus purely on school. Which is a good thing. It's healthy to be able to step back and realize that you need to shift your energies or shift the way you work. But the issue that I'm now left with is the fact that I created writer's block. So in this video, I'll take you through the process that I go through to get back into writing after I've been away for a while. And I think one of the most important things in this entire process is being kind towards yourself. Is being kind and realizing that sometimes you can't get back to the same level you were before just like that. Sometimes you have to really struggle through a place where your writing doesn't match your previous level, or where it doesn't come as easily as it did before. And I think it's very important to give yourself that space. So that's like the motto of today. I get back into writing, but I do it at a pace that allows me to not get frustrated. And I'm going to be working on both my works in progress today. One of them is the fantasy book that I'm trying to write, and I hope to publish somewhere next year. And one of them is the poetry bundle that I'm actually publishing this month. Which is wild to say, because I am actually publishing something this month. Like, what even? Don't really know how to comprehend that still. But I'll get there probably, and if not, then I guess it will hit me once it's published. I hope. But without further ado, let's get into me struggling, I guess, and me trying to find my writing again. Okay, so to get back into writing, I need my writing utensils, obviously. Generally what I keep on my desk when I'm writing is a generic notepad to take notes on, for whenever I get thoughts during the process that I don't want to put into the specific draft, or if I just have, notes for myself to look back into after I'm done writing a certain part. I keep a notepad for that. Obviously a pencil for that as well. Then I have my little lore book. I personally don't really like keeping the general world lore and magic system explanations and character like files in my computer, because I am the type of person that gets very lost. I tried digitalizing this and I think I've lost 4 files, so I'm back to using my lore book now. What this is basically a bare bones setup of the world. So for example, it has the magic system explained, and it has some magic history explained, it has some of the schools in the world explained, why certain things can't happen and why they can, the tax of the magic, and all of that is in here. Then there is some plot planning. There's still a lot of space because I tried to digitalize halfway through, so as you can see, like, empty. But there are some plot lines in here, and I'm planning to put some characters in here as well that I just want the nitty-gritty on whenever I need them. So for example, if I'm writing a scene, I'm like, so how would this person respond? I don't really know for sure. I get back to their character files and like their bare bones personality to get a gist of that. And that's all in here. So I keep this with me at all times because it's basically the rundown of how my world works. and when I get stuck, sometimes this helps me through. So that's something I have with me. Then I have this. What is in here is the first 2 proof copies of Wings That Burn and some notes on Wings That Burn, some poems that I still have to put in there. So I'm gonna put this away and save it for a later point of today, because as I said, I'm gonna be working on both my fantasy novel and Wings That Burn. However, I plan to do Wings That Burn last because that's basically just editing and like placement of poems and reintegrating some of my illustrations and then just figuring out style-wise what I want it to look like. And that is very much something I don't mind doing when it's very late, but when I get into writing I need to start pretty early, because yeah, if I start this in the evening that's fine, but then my sleep is dying. And I have volunteer work tomorrow, so let's not do that. Then obviously my phone, much like many procrastinating writers, I like using Pinterest for inspiration, but I also really use my Spotify as like reading and writing list. I love what my voice did there just now. I have a pencil case over there behind the camera, and I also have my boyfriend's computer over there, which I use for Wings That Burn, so it's gonna stay over there for a little while, because I don't have InDesign and he does. And then I also have my own laptop here, but I first need to clean my boyfriend's desk, because I am at my boyfriend's place currently, and this is his setup, which is fine if I would be using the big computer, but I'm not today, because I really just want to work on my own laptop. So I'm gonna clean this up to the point where I can like work comfortably, and then I'll be back. So as you can see, I made some space on the desk for my own stuff, and I can now start writing. And the first issue that I really like to tackle when I haven't been writing for a while is the out of the flow issue. So let me just set you down real quick and take you through that. We good? Okay. I'm always a bit worried that whenever I set my camera down it's just gonna tip over, because I didn't bring my tripod today, and that's like my bad, but I definitely should have brought it. So whenever I try to tackle my not in the flow issue, it really comes down to the fact that I have no idea where I left off the story last I wrote, and I have no idea when I wanted to take it anymore. And that's the main issue, like not knowing where to take it and what feels natural in the story makes it really hard to write it. There's 2 ways I could tackle that issue. I'm taking a very specific route today because I know what I want already, but the other one I also use from time to time if I have a little more like editing time to spare. So basically the first one is editing. You go back to a specific point in your story and you just start reading and editing as you go, and by the time you get to where you left off, you have built momentum to the point where you can keep writing. The issue with that for this particular story is that I really wanted to write some new content today, and if I were to go back to the beginning, you know, I'd be stuck editing for a while, which is fine if that's what you want, but if you want to write something new that day, I tend to like not take that route. And I think an important note as well is that if you choose this route to get out of the writing block, try to not pick a spot too far back to the beginning, because for example, if I started with the beginning of this book, I'd be stuck editing for a solid like 3 to 4 days before I got to where I am now. Whereas if I started like to the point where this scene begins, or where this part of the story begins, I'd be editing for about half a day to a day, and that would feel like a lot better. But because I wanted to write some content today that is new to the story, I'm not taking that route. Instead, I am taking the reading route, which is just, I guess, a step easier than the editing part. I will start reading from where this scene or part of the story starts, and by the time I've read through it, I kind of know where I want to take the story, or at least what feels natural now that I'm reading it now. So that's something that I'm just gonna do, and then I have a bit of a better feeling for where I left, and the flow kind of returns because of that. So let's get into that. Okay, so I just read basically the last two chapters of the book that I'm writing, and I now know a bit better where I left off and what I was planning with it. Or at least if I don't know exactly what I was planning with it, I know kind of what feels natural right now. So I'm able to plot something now. Personally, I'm not much of a plotter. I don't like plotting out the entire story and then just writing it. I want to have some type of flexibility to change things as they feel better without having to rewrite my entire plot because of the changes I make. So I kind of created this hybrid form of plotting and winging it, where I plot the big things. So I plot the main structure to go from A to B. So I have the bare bones. I have the way to get from that point to that point. Like that's that, and that gets to the ending. The way to get to those specific points, however, I don't plot out. I leave myself the wiggle room to like do whatever I want there, without having to rearrange my entire plot because I decided to do something else than what I wrote down. The icky part about that is that you do get stuck a little bit more often because you don't have that structure to get you going. You just have something, you're like, okay, I need to get there. But how do I get there? The good part about it is that I'm a bit more flexible to change things whenever I want to, without that causing a whole like chain reaction of me having to rewrite things. So I am now going to sit down and plot out some stuff that I do think I should plot out. For example, the bigger picture of how to get to the next point with like little sub points, but the way to get there I'll leave empty again. And then obviously I'm gonna put on some music to like get me in the mood, and I might pull up some Pinterest inspo just because I feel like it. And generally this takes a while. Like plotting when I get back after being away for a little bit, it takes a lot longer than it usually does because I really need to think like, okay, so fresh eyes, fresh mind, where do I want to take this? So that's the time when I really rewrite the plot, is when I haven't written for a while and I don't really remember where I wanted to take the plot. Like obviously I have my previous notes, but right now it might feel that I want to take it to a different direction, and right now is the time where I am able to do that. So that's what I'm gonna do now. think it's been a while since I last picked up the camera because I've been writing for about 2 to 3 hours now, which is amazing. But my eyes are getting really tired and I also still have to do edits for Wings That Burn, so I figured I would stop writing for now and run you through what exactly happened after I wrote down my plot. Basically, for me, when I start plotting, little bits of story just pop up during that plotting session that allow me to start writing directly afterwards, because I just write them down separately, and then from those points I start writing after I'm done plotting. So that's what you saw happen as well. I plotted and then I was just like, okay, getting into writing now. Right now I think, yeah, I wrote about 2.5 chapters, which is great. And I'm really happy that I just got back into the flow. But there are some things I didn't show you yet that I usually do when I'm stuck at a specific scene, because this specific writer's block was caused by me basically getting out of the flow and not knowing where to take it anymore. And that's significantly easier to break through than when I get stuck at a specific scene and I have to write that scene to get through, or I have to change it in a way. Whereas this just get back into the flow, get back into writing. When I get stuck on a specific scene, instead of, you know, forcing myself to try again and again and again, which I found just doesn't work for me personally. Like, if you're able to do that, that's great, but I personally can't. So instead of forcing myself to go through it again, I tend to do 1 of 3 other things to give myself some time away from the scene that's causing the issue. One of those things is Pinterest. I love making mood boards. So for example, I love making mood boards for specific characters or specific locations or just scenes or the entirety of the world to capture a specific feeling that allows me, when I scroll through that mood board, to get in the feeling that is needed for writing about those characters or about that world. An example would be, I will show you. I have this specific mood board right here. And it is a mood board for my main character. It's just anything that really, for me, captures her vibe and her mood. So colors or specific scenes or specific items. And then this is the mood board I have created for the entirety of the world. So specific locations that I feel like would be in the world, or specific feeling that I feel like captures the world really well. And as you can see, it's a lot of foresty, naturey things, because I do think that a large part of this world is nature, because the magic system is very much based on the elements. So I wanted to incorporate that nature in the world as well, because I would imagine that in a world where the magic is so heavily centered around what nature is, then that nature would be given a prominent place in the world as well. So that's what I do with Pinterest. And I think one of the main examples for what I use it for is what you just saw happen while I was writing, because you could see me look up a specific picture from a flying city that I wanted to use as a visual aid to describe this flying city in my own story. So that's kind of what I use these mood boards for. Another thing I use when I need some time away from a scene is Spotify, which is probably gonna sound really weird because not everybody likes writing with music, but I personally do. So I also really like creating specific mood playlists for characters. So for example, my main character has one, the main antagonist has one, the friend group that we follow in my story has a specific playlist, because my story is heavily focused around a specific friend group. And then I have a general character inspiration playlist that I listen to during plotting today. And then I have a writing playlist just for general writing music as well, which mainly incorporates like music scores and movie background music and like gaming music, because they're made to be background music and that makes it very easy to write to them. A third thing I like to do is basically working on lore and world building, which means that I take time away from the scene to instead work on, for example, the magic system or worldly politics, or I will flesh out a specific character a bit better, or I try to create a location in the story I know my characters will have to visit, because the more I do that, at least I find that the more I do that and the more fleshed out my world really becomes, the easier it is for me to continue writing when I'm stuck, because then I have this wealth of knowledge to dive into to help me along. So that's something I really like doing as well, because I'm gonna have to figure out those details either way, whether or not I get stuck now and do it now, or whether I save it for after I'm done writing another part of the story and then I still have to do it, because I need those to like build up to the ending of my story. Like there are locations I haven't written out yet that my characters will visit, and there is a specific part of the magic that I really need to get back into and figure out as well. But I'm not gonna do that today, because I have been writing for about 2 to 3 hours, and I also still need to do Wings That Burn, which means that it's time for me to put away my fantasy novel, unfortunately, and I have to like rearrange the desk a little bit with the laptop that's behind me right there to get into the editing stage of my poetry bundle. I will also definitely take you along for that, but I just have to rearrange the desk a bit first, so I'll be right back. I rearranged the desk again to its final form of the day. I'm gonna be just spending the rest of my day just editing away at Wings That Burn, because it is publishing month and I need to get it done. Like I'm this close, but I just need to get that last bit out of the way. Me saying the fact that it's publishing month surprises me, but I do want to show you what I have on my desk. My personal copy of Wings That Burn, which is my personal proof copy, and it has some like marked bits, and there's like loose notes between them with poems I need to add, and there's marked bits where it says like move poem forward or backwards, so that's stuff I still need to do. Then I also have my reader proof copy of Wings That Burn on my desk at the moment, which is tabbed. And the fact that people enjoyed my poetry to the point where they would tab it makes me really, really happy, and like stupidly happy. So yeah, I can't wait to like share this with the larger world. Like currently 5 people have read it, and this is the work of the last person that read it. The tabs on the front, there's 2 of them, is the work of some of the other readers, and then I already did take some tabs out after noting down where they were and why they were there, and then there's some stuff like in the book from one of the other readers as well. And I just can't wait to put this out to the larger world and hear what you guys think. So if you are interested, Wings That Burn is a poetry bundle that tells the story of heartbreak, loss, and finding yourself again in the aftermath. Like Icarus that fell and the phoenix that rose again from the ashes, it tells the story of just losing yourself entirely and then rising again as a different person. It comes out the 22nd of this specific month, which again, I'm so sorry, I sound like a deranged fangirl right now, but it's always been a dream of mine to publish a book. And I'm so close to getting there now, and I'm so close to finalizing that dream, and I want to do more. Like I want to publish my fantasy novel as well, and it's been amazing so far, and the feedback has been amazing. Yeah, I'm just really excited. Anyways, that was it today for the writing vlog. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that it helped you out if you got stuck with your writing. If you want to know more about the editing process and what it took to like get this self-published, because I'm self-publishing, I'm not traditionally publishing. If you want to know more about that, just ask me. I'm totally okay with sharing the things that I've done and how I did it. And if you want me to make a video on it, I could definitely also do that. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you in the next one.